Greetings, sports fans. ASMR Sports back in your business. It's been a while since my last video, and yeah, I've just been kind of struggling with ideas. Honestly, I have a lot of Pokemon stuff I'd love to do, but I'm trying not to just do tons of Pokemon all the time. Even though I know some would appreciate that. Most probably are primarily interested in sports stuff. So I've been trying to think of stuff to do and not really coming up with much, but it is approaching the fall, folks. And you've probably seen the Halloween decorations coming out at your local Safeway or Super Value or whatever the store in your area, your grocery store is, your favorite grocery store is called. So consequently, I have seen what now seems to interestingly be kind of a real phenomenon. The idea of giving away cards of any collectible cards of any kind, like 10 years ago, was completely strange, and you'd pretty much have to do something on your own, go get a cheap box of cards and give out actual packs. But in recent years, Panini, actually I feel like these are quite new. Well, no, what am I saying? I remember Don Russ had, gosh, that was back in like I want to say 1991 or something. Don Russ had, little mini wax packs that they sold in a bag for trick-or-treaters. It's kind of funny how long ago that was. I mean, that was when the junk era was sort of at its peak. And they only did that a couple of years. But since that time, really, I don't think there's really been anything. So there is some history, but it's been a long time since cards have been made like this, and it kind of started with Pokemon cards. I started seeing those packs, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. I feel like they started making those, maybe not that long, maybe like 3 years ago. They started making Pokemon, little mini packs of Pokemon cards that would come in a bag, and you give those away, and they still make those. But I feel like only maybe last year they started doing sports ones. Panini started doing sports ones. So this year they have football, which we're going to take a look at. And they also have basketball. I don't think they have baseball, but I could just be, I've never seen them, or they're not out yet. So kind of interesting. So these, these packs, I think, which I'm not sure. Oh yeah, the basketball one are hoops. These one are scores. So basically they pick the lowest end set that they have for each of those sports. And make little three card packs with them. And then there are exclusive parallels, which I guess is kind of fun. I mean, if you just got like 3 kind of random score cards from the base set, it would suck. Your cows would probably get egged. But if there's something kind of special in here, then maybe there's a lot more excitement to get these. So these will just be the regular 2024 scorecards, which is interesting, folks, because festive, a little spooky, but not that spooky. So yeah, you get, what is it, like 40 packs. There's a weird kind of plasticky smell to them. 40 packs of 3 cards, so 120 cards total. Yeah, kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. So yeah, I've never opened either Pokemon or sports cards packs like this. I feel like it would be very easy to wreck the cards in there. Really wish I had scissors right now, but I have to make do. There's only 3 cards, so if I pulled on anything particularly, oh, I think we got a parallel. And yeah, okay. So, all right. Well, these are all, you know, designed with the Halloween design, so it's kind of like Topps holiday stuff, where, you know, the cards look like the photos are from the regular set, but the borders are unique to this product. So I was mistaken that there's like just regular score cards in here. There are in fact not. So we got Jeff Saturday. We got a Rising Star. I kind of like this. It sort of looks like the, well, actually it kind of looks like the 1990 score design with those kind of lines there. Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver for the 49ers. And Marshall Falk, a retired Hall of Famer, is looks like a green. I wonder if that's the parallel, that the green bats instead of the orange pumpkin design. Let's see. I'm sort of imagining that we're gonna get like one of those in every pack, one of those green ones. But we'll find out, folks. We will find out. Well, I hope everybody's been doing well. I've been busy as usual. I continue to try to sell as much stuff as I can. Okay, well, interestingly, we got 1 orange and 2 green this time, so I don't know what the hell's going on. Maybe they're just some, like half the set's green, half the set's orange. But we got a star, Joe Burrow. It's pretty cool. Rising Stars, Chubb Robinson for the Dolphins, and Richard Dent. Now I'm really curious to see, because we got one with 2 of the orange and 1 green, and then 2 greens, 1 orange. So what's the third going to be? What is the third going to be, folks? But yeah, I've been trying to sell a lot of cards, which, I don't know, sometimes my efforts there are productive, sometimes they're not, but I've been selling on eBay, I've been selling through DealerNet, and interestingly, this past, like last week, I did an experiment, guys, which I'm kind of excited about, and I finally decided to sell some cards through a consignor, an eBay consignor, the biggest one there is. I think in both sports cards and like basically any other category, but there's this consignor called Probstein. If you've bought cards on eBay in the last 10 years, you probably know them because they basically come up in like every search you might do for whatever card, because they just sell mountains of cards. And on all their auctions, they say, you know, you can consign through us. But there's curiously little information, god damn it, curiously little information about how to do that, so I've never really gone out of my way to go and figure that out. You go to their website, and there's like, you know, nothing there except an email address, so I just emailed, and like, sure enough, you know, later that day I get an email from the guy who owns it, Rick Probstein, and, you know, as I guessed they would, they just had some instructions kind of laid out, and I had asked a couple like small questions too, and he answered those. So I was like, oh, cool, I'll check that out. Spencer Rattler, quarterback for the Saints there, and Deion Sanders is there. So we got another 2 orange, Reggie Wayne. So yeah, I followed the instructions. I sent in like 4 or 5 graded cards, like some Judge and Otani cards that I knew would be, good sellers. I also sent in one unopened box of cards that I kind of just wanted to see, how that would go. But so far, and those auctions don't end until Wednesday. I guess that's the one downside to the consigners is they obviously have to post all week long. So, they'll just post it. I think they generally try to make all the auctions end at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, which is, optimal. But the day that they end, I think, is totally just dependent on when they get your stuff. I'm going to try to time my next order so they kind of get it on a Friday, so maybe it goes up Saturday or Sunday, would be my hope. But anyways, so I got the email that, said the auctions were up, and it's got a little link to your little kind of portal where you can see the auctions. And almost immediately one of the auctions was already at the price that I sort of said, well, that would be a solid price for this card if I got it. And now it's quite a bit higher than that. So it's still 4 days away, and I've got pretty good bids already and a lot of watchers. So the one thing I didn't know about Probstein stuff is I've noticed that their stuff sells for more. Everybody kind of knows that, who sells cards or buys cards. Their auctions tend to sell for more than you would get if you just listed it on your own. And I always imagine that a big part of that is people are shilling their own auctions, meaning that, if a consignor lists an item you sent them and you go bid on it with your account, there's no way that eBay would know that. The consignor, I guess, theoretically could know that. Will they care? I bet they don't, because I'm sure that it happens. I mean, you just have to buy your item, basically, so you're basically paying them the fee. But I think people, what they do is they bid up, and then they, retract when they see they've gone, high enough to win, and so they just sort of know where it's at. But obviously I have no interest in shilling my own auctions, but I was curious to know if the only reason, or the primary reason why Probstein stuff gets such good results price-wise is because people shill their auctions. So that was something I was hoping to, find out. If I submitted stuff and it just kind of didn't really go for very good prices, then oh crap, people are just shilling their stuff through this consignor. So that's the only reason it's making, it's those auctions are doing better. And if you don't want to shill, which I certainly don't, then you're just kind of not going to get much value. But so far, anyways, it seems like you just get a ton more eyeballs on your auctions because, Probstein has an account. We got Lad McConkey, wide receiver, Charger. I don't know how many of these. I'm probably get a couple more. But, where was I talking about Probstein? Oh yeah, so everything goes through their eBay account, right? And eBay's algorithm drives traffic to new auctions, based on a formula that in part is key to how active the eBay user is. And when you've got basically the most active eBay user on the friggin' platform posting your auction, your items, for their auctions, they're going to get the maximal amount of eyeballs. It's not like they're shown to every person on earth, but I'm just saying, compared to any other way you could list a sports card auction on eBay, they're Probstein's going to get the most. So I think that's a big reason why their auctions probably do better. Now, none of my auctions are done, so who knows? They may just actually stall and not do anything. But I suspect that they will probably do pretty well based on what I've seen so far, just because most of the action on eBay auctions happens in the final, 10 minutes of bidding. So I'll do just one more pack and then figure figure out something else to do while I tell you about Probstein. So yeah, I think having Probstein post their your items in their auctions is going to get you the maximum of eyeballs and therefore the maximum number of bidders, and hopefully get a bidding war going for a card if it's a popular one. Johnny Wilson, Rising Stars, and Ramondre Stevenson. So that's good. I think originally the reason why consigners existed is because they take a lot of the work out of listing stuff. You just send your stuff to them and they, take pictures and they fill out the the submission form and, do all that stuff, and then when it sells, they ship it off for you. I'm trying to figure out what I want to sleeve here. So that I think was the kind of the original reasoning for consigners to exist. And that is, that is good. But I think a better reason these days is that the consigners might get a much better price, especially if they're really big consigners, than you would if you just posted on your account, because that's just the way eBay works. And then a third really good reason to use consigners is generally they are going to actually pay you much more than you would get if you sold an item on your own, because all the big sellers on eBay get preferential rates from eBay, because the more you sell, the more they pay you, or the lower their fees are on the final price, the final value fees they call them. So for example, where this really kicks in is when you get kind of the highest level, dollar amount of the highest tier of, the dollar amount that is in their fee schedule, which for Probstein is $1,000. So if you sell a card over $1,000, you make the same, or you pay the same percentage fee as you would if you sold a card for $10,000, right? So what is that percentage? Well, it's 5%. Now, folks, if you don't sell on eBay, maybe you have no appreciation for this, but that is ridiculously low. I always, in my head, when I sell on eBay, and their fees are a little bit mysterious because, and by the way, I think they're going to get sued in a class action if any accountant ever sits down and figures out their bookkeeping, because I have no doubts that there's some shenanigans going on with how eBay calculates fees. But basically, I think eBay says they charge something like 12.83% or something on sports cards, but they also charge that fee on the tax and the postage that you buy to send the card to the buyer. So basically, when it's all said and done, you're paying 15% on the item price for the fee. So that's very high. I don't know, I guess some people might think, eBay provides a lot of value, so that's worth it, right? Well, okay, maybe so. But you compare that 15% to the 5% you would pay if you sell through Probstein and your card is more than $1,000, and you go, whoa, that's a ton of savings, folks. That is a ton of savings. And by the way, Probstein charges that 5% on the auction price, not on the auction price, and the shipping cost, and the tax that the buyer pays. So that's an incredibly good deal. Now, items under $1,000, you don't get nearly the deal. I think 500 to whatever, 800. It's gosh, what is it? It's 10%. I could look it up, but I don't know. I don't want to. But I think 10% is the best you're gonna get For cards under 1,000, and that'd probably be like whatever, $700 to $1,000 cards, something like that. So, you don't do nearly as good compared to what you could do on your own for fees with lower dollar cards, but for high value cards or high value boxes, because I could see myself selling unopened boxes. I think you're gonna just do gangbusters compared to selling on your own, or frankly selling through most other places. Like, even if I sell something through my website, hotcardboard.com, your source for all your sports card needs, I'm gonna pay 3% fee for the credit card processing, right? So you think like that 5% fee that a Probstein charges like includes that 3%, so they're really only charging like 2%. It's kind of crazy. I feel like how much could they be making? Like, how much could eBay be paying these people such that they could only charge a 5% fee to the seller and have anything left? It's got to be like 1% or something. But I sort of see maybe those $1,000 plus cards are like loss leaders, and they get a lot of people that want to pay attention to the auctions that Probstein does, because those $1,000 cards tend to be very desirable cards that people like to look at, and they like to know, kind of when things like that are posted, because if you're in the market for that kind of stuff, then you're really gonna see that stuff when you want to see it when it comes or when it appears in an auction. So I don't know if they're using those $1,000 plus cards as loss leaders, or just ways to get lots of eyeballs on their auctions. Hard to tell, but that's what I have to say about Probstein so far. We'll see. I know some of the complaints about Probstein are that sometimes it's a little bit of a wait to get paid, but I have no experience with that. And I mean, I don't know, the guy answered my email right away, so I feel like pretty confident that it's going to be okay. And I also think a lot of people complain because I know they don't list all cards as soon as they get them, but there's definitely a prioritization. If you send graded cards that are like $100 plus, I think you're going to get way faster posting, because that's what I sent. Way faster posting than if you send in like 300 cards that are like $10 each, which honestly I'd love to do because they probably would get a much better price than me, at least for auctions, and it would be think of the time savings. So I think a lot of people kind of want to send in lower value stuff, and then they don't. It takes them forever to get to it because it's not really going to make anybody any money. But if you have $100 cards, that are graded, that's very easy for them to post, I think, and they're happy to get those prioritized. I think I sent my cards in on, I was like the weekend, I think I sent it in, so maybe they got in on I mailed them on Monday. I think they got there, like on Wednesday morning, and they like had posted them by Wednesday night, so just laser fast. Anyways, you guys might want to hear that. If you have high dollar cards, I would definitely consider them or another consigner. There's another consigner called PC Sports Cards, and the guy who owns it is a sometimes active contributor to the Blowout Sports Card Forum. So I know him from there. And he's got a good reputation, but his fees are definitely much higher than Probstein, and it's a much smaller, it's still a quite large operation for sports cards, but much smaller than Probstein. So theoretically, they're not going to get the views. So I did decide to go to Probstein because they had the lowest fees and the most eyeballs, which I think is a nice combination. So if they can get my auctions up quickly and get me paid relatively reasonably, sure, after they close, then I would think I would use them for lots of stuff. So we'll find out. But I hope you guys find that useful if you have some cards you might want to sell through Consigner. And